Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners on the by Gino. By the way, if you're new here or watching it, not on the live stream but on the recording, please do consider subscribing, ringing the bell. Very important to ring the bell so you get notified of the live streams, and clicking the like button. Don't bother with the dislike button. YouTube's getting rid of it. So another rally, strong rally, getting above 1100, that then selling off, could not sustain that 1100 level at all. Uh, so where do we sit now? Very active day on Discord. By the way, if you haven't heard yet, we do have a Discord server now. Link in the description below. It is getting more and more active. Called out a lot of levels on there today. That won't happen every day. The whole point of the Discord server, and I just want to clarify, this is not for me to pontificate stuff. It's for people who are trading common things to discuss things and to come up with stuff they might be looking at. If they want to apply some things, maybe take some learning from this channel, that's a great place to discuss it with other people. But what do we have here? Is it going to continue, or is a Tesla run out of gas? Maybe there was a pun intended. So pretty strong. I mean, this was insane. Let's just actually jump over to the options today first. Options insane. You had 161,000 of the 1100s going off. They were going off strong this morning, and I believe I commented on that on the Discord. You had then you even had 77,000 of the 1150s and 45,000 of the 1200s. So with some minor levels, but this is the most I think we've seen now in a couple weeks. This even eclipsed the last 2 days. I haven't totaled everything up, but it just seemed like it did. So that's where we stand with that. Key levels that I was watching today, I'm updating them constantly in Discord. So if I now, because I'm doing screenshots and everything, so I'm not moving levels back. So if you really want the intraday stuff, you'll have to check that out. But my major thing, once we started rallying above this 1050 or holding 1057, and then I'm actually going to have to check. I'm going to go back to all my posts because I was watching 1067. I had a cluster at 1067, which I actually think I moved all those up. Yeah, I moved everything up, but I had a cluster area at 1067 that I was watching, and then I had 1077 clustered there, and it blew right through there, but I kept watching that for a pullback level, which I posted also. Then we had this key little run up, and there was an air pocket. Remember yesterday I talked about the air pocket. Air pocket, let's see, above here. You can't see it on that time frame. On the 4 hour, was it on the 1 hour? Yeah, the 1 hour little air pocket. Once we got, above this little resistance shelf, air pocket into this single candle. And so again, I posted that once it got above 1077, I did have some minor levels. You can see here. I don't even know if I can bring this over. Let me see if I can bring this over. This is straight from the Discord. We had this 1091 level. I posted right after we started pulling back. I updated to this pausing bar, and then we updated to this 111442. So that was the final update I did. You see here, spiking above it, closing below it, spiking above it, closing below it. We also noticed that we had these divergences lining up to start watching for a bigger pullback. My first level was 1100. Immediately, we just pulled back below there, and we started getting some minor momentum to the downside. Then I was watching the 1090 area, briefly holding there, but closing below the 5-minute rotation zone. So immediately switched to the 15. Then the level I called out again was this 1077 holding. Coming down here, closing again. I watched the 15 going into the afternoon. Closing right at that 1077 area and the 15-minute rotation zone, then rotating back up. This is why, especially once we get to lunchtime in the afternoon, I don't watch the 5 minutes so much. We did dip below that 1077, but we got a really nice divergence right here. And my next harmonic down from this 1077 low right here was 1072. We came 1072.22. We came down to 1072.26, reversing up and then closing on the 15-minute rotation zone, and this was a aggressive, very short-term percent beat buy and running up. And again, the major resistance was then 1100 and topping out there. What I did not like is just how much it pulled back. Now, if we get this kind of option volume, it looks like some selling was coming in, and we closed a bit lower than I normally like. But again, I'm going to be watching for the momentum right off the open, even with the selling. Uh, if you have this kind of insane option volume going off, it can start juicing stuff, especially if people start piling in on momentum. It just feeds on itself until it gets very overextended. I mean, you see here on the 1 hour, by the way, I forgot to mention that return, this is where you have to go through your multiple time frames. When we did pull back to this 1070s, this 1072 low, when I was watching that 1077, it also pulled back to a nice 1 hour rotation zone. So tomorrow, let's go through bullish levels. We need to drag this one up. By the way, if you're wondering what these darker green levels are on my charts, they are the shorter term, some of the shorter term updates I'm doing intraday. So let me see. Right now I'm just going to roughly 1100. Based off the price action today, let me take this level off. 1100 is roughly where you want to be for bullish mode. Again, it's a zone. You can go to 11, especially above 1102. It gets into more bullish mode. Let me update these levels. Let me update. There are a bunch of stuff today to update. And also we confirmed the daily double top. The daily double top has been confirmed. So keep that in mind too. It has not been triggered, and we'll talk about that more when we take a look at the daily. What I'm watching for tomorrow morning is where we open in reference to the 15-minute rotation zone. We have this little support shelf about 1087. We start getting momentum down below there. I'm just targeting now this 1072 area that we held at the end of the day. We get below there. Minor for me is 1066. Major, I'm watching anywhere from about 1055 to 1060. And we still have a inky dinky little gap left behind, but I'm just watching this 1055 to 1060 as a major support zone tomorrow. You can also see price action just below that, so you can maybe drop down to 1052 if we do break below there, but I don't want to see any closing into this price action below there. Minor would be 1037 right here, and then more significance would be 1022. The 1 hour, especially if we start dropping below that 15, watch for 10, what it's right now 1082, but if we start closing in it, then I'm really focusing on the bigger pullback levels. The 4 hour, we don't have a cross. It's pretty much ignoring it tomorrow. I'll just use the 1 hour and those other levels I called out. Daily, bottom of the daily rotation zone that is flat is back at 1043, which is very minor at this point. What I was talking about to the upside, we confirmed this double bottom, but did not trigger it. That would be required for a close above that, and it's again very aggressive because there's still that selling out there, that unknown selling out there. But when these, let me mention something else. When these are tested, and this was tested across hundreds of stocks, thousands of stocks, actually over 10 or a bunch of years, it did not rule out stuff like selling pressure, news, earnings, everything else. So you got to take the probabilities with the probabilities. And even if it does close above here, it's with the daily rotation zone, You got to take the probabilities, or you use the levels as intraday. So the levels intraday, on a strong rally, again, if you're targeting the 1150s, I'd be also keeping an eye on this 1163.80 area. So anywhere from about 1150 to 1163.8 area would be a potential raise stop aggressively or take profits. Next above there's about 1193.22. Then we have this gap fill in 1222.63. So would not ignore those levels the upside. Just because it triggers also doesn't mean you have to trade it on a daily basis. A lot of people don't want to hold overnight right now. Completely understandable, but these levels can be used intraday. Minor levels, again, my bullish line in the sand is 1100. Above there, 1120. You can watch that 1114 area. That was, where did we get to? We got to 1119, but 1114 you can watch here as a minor resistance area, right, coming in here. Then above there, you're looking at the 1120 high area, then 1129.65, so 1130, that's minor for me, but major, and I'll show you why it's major, would be this 1137 to 1139 harmonic cluster. And this is where we had some dip buying when we were holding up here, that now, those people are trapped right in that area. So that's the first little warning sign. And then 1154 to that 1163 is my major. So if we have another rip your face off day, that's the major target area. I'm just going to keep watching the options. It's running out of a little gas, but it's not overbought on the 4-hour. It's not overbought on the daily. It was overbought on the 1-hour, but look at, we've cascaded back down. Let's see. Let's just see what we have. 1200 soon. If these options stand up and we don't have insane Elon selling or insane Elon tweeting, it could be 1200 soon. If these options, I had 1222.63 as the full double target. Again, that has not triggered, but it has confirmed. So from aggressive mode, a confirm could be a trigger, but we use it on a close above that. Well, congratulations to selling Rivian and putting it in Tesla today. Just know what your bigger picture trade is. Let's see. Yes, hi Dave. Hello, Wavy. Closer to all-time highs. Is this looking like a bull trap to you? Again, a bull trap, I don't know. You can get people trapped with the selling, but there's so many people. Again, people got sort of negative on it. Now it's rallying up, and you have this insane option volume going off again. So, yeah, there's a potential with the Elon unknowns and with the sellings that it could slam things down, but it's absorbed some selling the last 2 days. And as long as this keeps going, that's why, again, if the double triggers, I'll be watching. And it's insane back here to go say me to even think 1222. Or even for me to think 1150 when, a couple days ago, we were below 1100. But it's, when you see this kind of option volume and then it follows through with this momentum, and are we overbought yet on the daily? No. Are we overbought yet on the 4-hour? No. And when this thing gets overbought, it can go and overbought for a while. We were overbought at the 1-hour, but it came back nicely to the rotations, and why I'll be watching it tomorrow. So could we easily push up and keep going? Yeah. Now, if we remember last week the option volume was pathetic. If we go back to pathetic and we start detecting momentum selling bars, I'm watching for the downside levels. Oh, if we get below the minor 1044, I'm back to 1022, then the 1000 area, 997 to 1000. If we start getting a lot of major selling pressure. If we get selling pressure like today and just everything dries up and there's no options, we could have another drop. It could happen. This is no longer term. Also, I touched on this yesterday. We've now technically reset the weekly rotation zone. We haven't reset it by getting to the bottom, so there's still key support. But until I see a now move below 978.68, especially on a weekly closing basis, first sign would be if we close back below that on a daily, though. I can't watch for those lower prices. I can watch for them, but there's no signs yet that, this can't rotate back up. This could theoretically rotate back up on a weekly basis, go up to this 1222 level, and make a double top on a weekly pattern, a massive double top. It could even go to new highs above 1243 and still make a double top, which would then, if that came down, would be a major reversal pattern for me. I just have to trade what is. Right now, we've held that line in the sand so far on a closing basis, has not been able to get a weekly close. This week's not over, but last week couldn't close below 1,000. This week's picked back up, tackled that 1,100, and you have those massive options going off. And still, we have 20,000 of the open weeklies, open interest at that 11,000, and you have 10,000 at the 1150s and 77,000 volume today. If that continues and we get momentum to the upside, I got to go with the trend is still up. The trend is up on the weekly with the rotation so far. We could collapse the next 2 days, and that could completely change the picture. But I got to trade with the trend. We're back above the daily rotation zone that's flattened out. That is a little grounds for concern. But everything else the last 2 days has been back in bullish mode, and we confirmed a double bottom. Filling that gap down to 909 is not looking probable, at least for now. Not based off the last 2 days, but it's still a major probability in the future. I'm not discounting that, but right now we have so many unknowns with Tesla right now, with the big unknown of the continued selling that he said, does anybody have a running total of where we sit with it? Because I know he sold some more yesterday. What participants in such coordination? Well, some of it is just with the momentum algos that trigger. They all pretty much, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them trigger at the same patterns, and they pile on with stuff and coordinated. Well, there's some definitely share purchase coordinated with option stuff going off. I've just seen blocks of stuff go off. Do I know who's doing it? No idea. Doesn't matter though. I got to trade what is, and it's just like we could talk about this or that, or are things manipulated, or is the option market driving the stock? Yeah, it is. You got the gamma stuff, but am I going to say who's doing it? I don't specifically know, and it doesn't matter. We got to follow price action. Ken said he heard he has 10% left to sell. I think that's a bit low. I didn't tally up the numbers for today. I think he's got at least at least 45 or 50 to 55% left to sell. But again, if we get this, I sound like a broken record. If we continue to get this kind of momentum off the open with the options, it doesn't really matter. It can absorb, unless he goes insane and tries to dump it all at once, separate from his plan it's already established. If he just goes, I'm selling 10 million shares tomorrow. Okay, we're going to have some downside momentum, but you're going to start seeing it in the tape. And don't stand in front of that. Okay? So again, let's just review what a momentum bar looks like. This was momentum to the upside. This is where, you start seeing this, we based, and then you start breaking out. Very little bar overlap. I was talking on here. It's like I'm waiting for a pausing bar, I put this in Discord, waiting for a pausing bar. It finally took, from this momentum bar that started at 8:45 Chicago time, we didn't get a pausing bar until 9:15. And then we tore up again. So that's momentum to the upside. This was momentum to the upside. When you start seeing bars like that, don't stand in front of it. This was momentum to the downside. If we flip this on, don't stand in front of it. Use your next bigger targets. That's all I can say at this point. Anything else? I'm going off around 17. Yeah, it is. I was just wondering, we already had him. I was just wondering I didn't tally his Form 4. I know he filed another Form 4 last night, but I didn't tally it. Okay, John says 9.2 of 17 million. So if you're going off 17 million, he's got 54% sold. If you're going off a higher number than that, then you'll just have to do the percentage. But okay, so how much has he done the last 2 days, John? Can you answer that for me? Can you rough it out? Don't have to be exact. What's it been about? Uh, 3 point something million more? Because if he's so dumped 3 point something million in the last 2 days and it's been able to absorb it with this option kind of stuff, you get these little downdrafts or these pauses, then he can keep selling. All right, we had roughly 900 yesterday. So we'll just have to see. It can absorb this if we keep getting the juice. If the juice disappears, and there was not much juice last week besides a couple little pops. There were a couple little option pops of juice, well timed with sells, I'll have to admit. Very well timed with some of the sells, but there was not enough juice to overcome long-term selling pressure, especially since everybody was suspecting it. But now, especially if this does rally, with these last couple days, and people are like, oh, he sold again and it's still going up, psychologically, what happens? And a hell of a lot of trading is psychologically and people reacting off what they think is going to happen. And last week it was everybody thinks it was going to tank. And it became, all right, he sold. And it became sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Also, well, I'm not going to step in front of that boss. I'm going to sell too. Or this. To the last couple days, it's been he's still selling and it's rallying. So what do you make of that? This is that people are like, oh, well, if he's still selling and it's rallying, I don't want to miss this train. We're going back to 1200. And if you get enough people in the psychology shifts and you keep having the weekly options go off, and you have people not afraid to buy it up, especially with momentum moves, then easily there's more upside. And the longer term patterns still favor more upside. Can't comment right now if it favors new all time highs, but it favors more upside. Is it a guarantee? Is it 100%? No. Again, this double pattern that has confirmed but not triggered yet is in the 60% range. So I'm saying there's that kind of probability upside, and there's still probability the counter side to that to the downside. So anything else? Let's just take a quick look. I'm just curious. Can't keep the Tesla up. Rivian, I looked at this earlier. We did have some momentum bars in here too. Momentum bars. These are downside momentum bars off the gap lower. So this is something you don't want to stand in front of. And there's a nice key line of sand. This is when I'm saying it. You can't. There's no borrow yet for this, but this is the kind of thing. If I'm seeing, I don't want to do. Like I'm not going to try to grab this falling knife. Now you do have some nice little support right here, but this got so overextended to see profit taking. Look at that. That's a pretty nice level. Could probably be fine-tuned a little, but 140 area. So this is interesting now just from the standpoint that if we get above about 148, we have an air pocket. 148, and then I'd watch for about 150. So 148 would be my first sign, but the air pocket starts after 150, and then that goes to about 155, 156. Then we're back to I'm going to bump this level up a bit. Then we're back to around 165, and then we're with the full gap fill. So that's the play to the upside. The play to the downside is we start getting below. I'm actually bumping this down based off this price action right about here. About you just roughly go off about 140. If 140 doesn't hold, about back to 130 is the next support. What else? Anything else anybody wants to look at? Can't even spell lucid. Lucid could not get to the next harmonic with a pullback. I talked about this in the market overview, but still is not reconnected with the 4 hour rotation zone. So you have support right at the $50. We start getting below $50. I'm watching for the bigger pullback, 47.50, and then 44, 45 area with this still gap left behind. Because keep in mind with Lucid, we got very overextended from the daily, but see this 47.50 area right here with the rising rotation zone, that would be the next pullback, major pullback target. The minor pullback target I'm watching is right at 50 to see if we get another rotation up. Again, I'm not as bullish. We finally have a decent pausing bar, so I have to update the levels, because this is finally a pausing bar. That was garbage pausing bar, but it's all we had to work with. So about 57.74, we're at 60.83 and 63 to 64. With that, I think I'll wrap it up. I'm not seeing any more questions. Again, please consider joining the Discord server, link in the description below. And if you're new, subscribe, ring the bell, and like or dislike a video. I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.